My name is Daniel Brooks, and I've never told this story properly before because even now it doesn't feel like something that should be real. This happened about a year ago at Ravenwood High School in Pennsylvania, right before our final exams, when the school started keeping the library open until midnight. Since my house was nearby, I preferred studying there, and that night felt normal at first. I reached around 6, got lost in my books, and before I knew it, it was already close to 10. The library was completely empty. No students, no staff, just silence and the faint hum of the lights. And that silence started to feel heavier the longer I sat there. I packed my bag to leave, but just as I stood up, I heard something behind me. It wasn't proper footsteps, it was uneven, like something dragging slowly across the floor. I froze, my heart racing, and instead of turning back, I rushed out into the hallway. The corridor outside was long and dim, stretching toward the exit, and at the far end I saw a woman standing completely still. I couldn't see her face clearly, but something about her posture felt wrong, like her body wasn't aligned properly. The closer I got, the more uncomfortable I felt, like the air around her was thick and heavy, and when I finally forced myself to ask who she was, she vanished instantly, not walking away, just gone. I tried to convince myself I was imagining things and stepped outside, but the street was completely empty, unnaturally silent, nothing like it usually was. I kept walking, staring at the ground, until I noticed a shadow beside me, a woman's shadow, yet there was no one there. My chest tightened as I slowly looked ahead and saw her again, walking just in front of me, the same woman. I hadn't even heard her approach. She moved strangely, dragging one leg, and when I got close enough to see her clearly, my stomach dropped. Her clothes were torn and filthy, her limbs twisted unnaturally, and her hair hung in messy clumps around her face. I stopped, unable to move, every instinct screaming at me to run, but my body wouldn't listen. Then she spoke in a low, strained voice, asking where her son was. I couldn't think, couldn't speak, so out of fear I pointed somewhere far ahead into the darkness, just wanting her to go away. She turned and began limping in that direction until she disappeared. For a moment I felt relief, but then I heard her scream from far away, "He's not there," and the way she said it didn't sound human anymore. In that exact moment I felt something behind me, and when I turned around, she was standing right there, closer than before, so close I could see her face clearly. Her eyes weren't focused on me, they were looking through me, and her mouth slowly stretched open wider than it should, her jaw shifting unnaturally as if it didn't belong to her. I collapsed on the spot, unable to scream or move, and the last thing I remember was her leaning closer and whispering something I couldn't fully understand, except for one word, "found." When I woke up, I was at home. My neighbor told me he found me unconscious on the road and brought me back, and later he told me about a woman named Margaret Holloway who had lost her son years ago near that same school. After his death, she wandered the streets asking people if they had seen him until one night she disappeared, and since then people claim her spirit still roams, searching. I tried to forget everything, telling myself it wasn't real, but ever since that night, I sometimes hear that same dragging sound behind me when I'm alone. Sometimes feel like someone is walking just ahead of me even when no one is there. And a few nights ago, I noticed something that I still can't explain. I was standing in front of the mirror, and for a split second, my reflection didn't look like me. It looked tired, twisted, like it had been searching for something for a very long time. And then it smiled first,